It's a defining moment on the path to the American Revolution. A young wig maker taunts a British soldier over an unpaid bill, and sudden violence breaks out in a tragedy known as the Boston Massacre. Tensions between the colonists and the British had been high for 6 years. In a series of unpopular laws, the Sugar Act, Stamp Act, and Townshend Act, the British began taxing essential everyday goods like sugar and tea. Bostonians protested so loudly that Britain sent soldiers to keep order. That just made things worse. By March 5, 1770, the town is primed for a fight, furious about the recent death of a colonist shot by a British customs official. That night, violence erupts after an apprentice taunts a redcoat and is hit with a rifle butt. A large crowd forms and the situation rapidly gets out of hand. Soldiers began firing into the crowd, which quickly disperses. 5 colonists are on the ground, dead or dying. 9 soldiers are arrested. Only 2 are later found guilty of a minor charge. Even though the colonists are partially to blame for the fight, some see the opportunity to blame it all on the British. Paul Revere publishes a hugely popular engraving he titles "The Bloody Massacre Perpetrated in King Street." Though British troops stay in Boston for another 5 years without major bloodshed, the massacre is not easily forgiven and becomes one more reason to consider rebellion. On the cold winter night of December 16, 1773, a band of American colonists approached 3 British ships in Boston Harbor. The men are disguised as Indians, and they have a mission: destroy the tea on board each ship to protest yet another British tax on the colonies. The Boston Tea Party, as it comes to be known, is rooted in growing friction between the colonies and the British Crown over Parliament's right to levy taxes. For the past 13 years, Britain has taxed a number of items used in the colonies, everything from sugar to playing cards, each time the colonists protested. In 1773, Parliament passed the Tea Act. This required the colonists to purchase only British tea. Though it was actually cheaper than other teas, it was taxed, and to many colonists, that was intolerable. In Boston, the colonists demanded the tea ships return to Britain. The British refused, so the colonists took matters into their own hands.
The interesting thing about the Tea Party is we think that there's like a wild sort of riot or mob and that there's mass confusion, and actually the colonists were really specifically interested in making a point about tea to the British. So they didn't storm and destroy the ship. They actually didn't damage this ship at all. They just went for the tea. They didn't even break the lock to the hatch. They just wanted to make a point that the tax was bad, and they were going to show that by just destroying the tea.
The British were outraged. They closed Boston Harbor to trade and tried to assert even more control over Massachusetts. The colonists resisted, united in a growing defiance against England. 16 months after the Boston Tea Party in 1775, the American Revolution begins.